How you guys doing? This is Jason with Tuna Tech, and today I've got yet another smartphone that's not widely known here in the US, but it may just blow your mind. All right, so you're probably thinking, now what does he have? We had a video in the Vivo, there's Oppo, there's all these Chinese brands that aren't necessarily readily available here in the US, but this phone, while it is a Chinese manufacturer, can be purchased and used in North America and the US and many other parts of the world. It's just not widely known. And this is the Nubia V, oh, it's not, sorry, the Nubia Z70 Ultra. This is their high-end flagship camera-centric phone. Now, just quick caveat, Nubia also makes, if you can see that Nubia right there, they also make the Red Magic series, which is their gaming series. And I've said this before, for phones to really stand out, they should probably excel in one or more areas, whereas this should stand out in cameras per their information they've given me. And Red Magic should excel in gaming. Now, basically they have the new Red Magic 10 Pro and this both have very similar internal specs, but there's some obvious differences. So this is the Z70 Ultra from Nubia. So just looking at the box, it's pretty basic. Been a pretty big fan of Nubia lately. I usually go for the Red Magic series, but I'm not really a big gamer, and they do sacrifice some things that this doesn't, like cameras, IP ratings, and so on and so forth. Red Magic does have a fan that cools it, so you can't really have waterproofing or any kind of IP rating with that. So with that being said, on the back here, there isn't much. It just says it does have the Snapdragon Elite, so this can be a beast of a processor, and Wi-Fi 7, DTSX, you know, basic stuff. But what does this really have? It's got a 6.85-inch AMOLED display with 140 hertz refresh rate. It's got basically a 1080p plus resolution. It's 2688 by 1216. It has 2000 nits of brightness and has a 95.3% screen to ratio. So screen to body ratio, which is pretty damn good. It does have, like I said, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is 3 nanometers. Comes in 3 variants, 12 gig, 16 gig, or 24 gigs of LPDDR5X. Obviously, the bigger you get, the more expensive it's going to get. Also comes with the same thing as storage-wise, 256, 512, or 1 terabyte of UFS 4.0. Didn't skimp on those specs. Everything so far on paper seems great. So, what are the cameras? This is what makes the camera system different and kind of strange. It's got 3 cameras in the back. The first one is a 50 megapixel main camera. It's 35 millimeter, which is very rare for a phone. Also on that main, it's got a adjustable physical aperture, a la the Samsung S9, 9 Plus series, if you remember those. This one has an adjustable aperture, which is kind of interesting. Ultra wide is also a 50 megapixel with 122 degrees, and it does macro up to 2.5 centimeters. It's got a 64 megapixel telephoto at 85 millimeters, and what gives that screen to body ratio such a great ratio, besides slim bezels, is that the front camera on this is actually a 16 megapixel under the camera, under the display camera. So why is that weird? Well, anything under the display is not going to be great because you're going to have some artifacting because it has to go through, you know, series of layers. And over the years, Red Magic has done this. And what I've noticed is with their AI, and you take the picture, initially it's like, oh my God, but then it does its, you know, computation photography, AI enhancement, and it didn't look that bad. And this is just the latest generation of that. So on and so forth. Now, this phone has been out for a couple weeks now. I had to wait a little bit longer because, as you can see, there's a unique color on this one. In addition to that, battery is 6150 milliamps with 80 watt fast charging. Again, no wireless. Is that a deal breaker? Maybe for some. For me, not. With 80 watt fast charging, you should be good. It's got Android 15. It's got NFC, which is kind of rare for some of these imported phones. Not that this is imported, but a lot of these Chinese phones don't come with NFC. It's got an in-screen fingerprint sensor, IP68, 69 dust and water resistance, and It should, now I don't know for sure, it should have, yes it does, have an infrared port. So again, something that most US manufacturers or US phones sold here, like Apple, Samsung, they do not have those things. So what's so great about this? Well, obviously it's got the latest Snapdragon processor, thin bezels, a versatile camera system that hopefully will, have good results. I did have the Z60 last year and I wasn't too impressed. So hopefully, the main thing with these companies that differentiate aren't just the sensors they use, it's the actual computation photography. So hopefully Nubia is actively working on that, stuff like that. So it's got a versatile camera system, long-lasting battery, fast charging, IP68, 69 dust resistance. Those are all great things. But some cons, there's no memory expansion. So make sure when you order, if 256, which is the base, is enough, then you should be good. No FM radio support, so I don't know, not many people I know use that anymore. And then availability in your region could vary, and it starts at $729 for 12 gig 256, which to me is a steal of a deal, because not only that, if you pre-ordered, it came with some goodies, but also, if I can get these things out of here, like, I don't understand why most companies don't do this anymore, but look, it comes with a USB, what is this, a C to C? Yep, C to C cable, so you can charge, or at least have a cable to charge, right? In addition, it even includes, you guys, I mean, come on, an 80-watt charger in the case. No companies, at least here in the US, are even doing something similar to this at all. So yes, it lacks some pizzazz and some polish, but it does make up for other things too. So what else do we have in the box? You have SIM ejection tool, like always. You got your books, and interesting stuff, a white case, not a clear case. So if you got any of their other colors, I think it's black, yellow, and starry night, which is an interesting thing, and I'll show you something about that in a little bit. But it does come with a cheap case that in the box, but it included not just a cheap case. If you pre-ordered, not only did you get $30 to $50 off, you also got a Starry Night case. So I'm gonna do this real quick. Well, maybe we should just focus on the phone, but let's just see what the case looks like. So this is a bonus you got for pre-ordering, or however you did it. And Starry Night was the most popular. I would imagine that's the one that sold out the fastest. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like when I get this all open here. So again, it's pretty similar to the other case, but this is what their high-end case would look like, or the high-end phone would look like, only this would be embossed on the back of the phone. But it's got that Starry Night kind of painted look. So if you didn't want to get that and you wanted to opt out, you can always get the pre-order, or they may sell this on their website as an add-on, but that case was free with it. And so it came with technically 2 cases. So right off the rip, before I open it up, it's a hefty phone. Nubia's definitely, they make some tanked phones, which to me, light phones are what a lot of people like, but heft sometimes makes me feel good quality. It's not always true, but it tends to me to feel like, hey, they put some time and some real materials into this thing, but it doesn't always translate that way. Okay, so we ripped that off pretty good. So as you can see, very thin bezels. The camera is up top. Probably can't even see it because it's, like I said, under the screen. On the side, you have a slider. It may be programmable, it may not be. We'll have to check that out. On the other side, you've got a camera button. So it's camera centric. Why not have a camera button? It's not like the iPhone where you can slip and slide, but this is probably more basic and probably better, easily implemented. You got your red power button and volume up and down. On the top, we already showed you this. You got a microphone, IR blaster. On the bottom, you got your SIM, Type-C, and a speaker. Now, again, this is the global version, the US version, so this should work on AT&T and T-Mobile. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna throw an AT&T SIM, which I have here in it. We'll see what happens. But then on the back, this, let me get the sticker off here. This is what took so long. So it's hard to show on camera because the lights are kind of bright. This is like a melodramatic yellow. Very slippery, but as you can see, it says Neo Vision, Nubia branding, and it says there's your 50 times optical image stabilization zoom. It's got camera, flash, and then you got your main one here. This is the one with the adjustable physical aperture, if you can see that on the screen. Kind of says it right there on the outside. You got a red ring around the camera. So they don't shy away from unique design. And I think what makes this, separates this is, you know, it's got a different design you're not going to see anywhere else. They try to load it up with the highest, best specs possible, or at least utilize higher end. And then they make it feel really good in the hand. So hopefully this translates into something that people will actually want to buy and use. Nubia still sells here in the US. Not sure if they're doing well or not, but I would imagine if they weren't, it wouldn't be here anymore. So their skin on is Nebula AIOS, which is their skin on top of Android. And it looks like, let me just check here. It does have a screen protector pre-installed. Excuse me, guys. A little excited about these kind of things because I enjoy using a wealth of different phones, but I like the ones that are kind of obscure, a little different, but offer a lot that here in the US, if you don't have a carrier contract, you're not going to look at. So that's one downside to these kind of phones. You got to pay outright. But starting at $729, and if you get a $30 off, $50 off, under $600 or under $700, this is a steal for what it is. So this has been a quick look at the Nubia Z70 Ultra. It's a offshoot, and they also created the Red Magic, the same company. So I just want to kind of give you guys a quick heads up. So like I said, this is a flagship phone with the highest end specs, and it looks like it's going to be a killer device. So if you want to hear more, if you want to see a comparison, I do have the Vivo here, the X200 Pro, which I'm going to say this probably is a better camera phone than this, but I don't want to jump to conclusions until we kind of test it. But if you'd like to see some comparisons, like to see me more in depth on the camera, leave me a comment below. I'm more than happy to make another video. Just a quick caveat before I move on. Another downside, which I forgot to mention to these Nubia phones, is software updates. So they're guaranteeing, I think, security updates for 3 years, but they're only guaranteeing Android 16. So if updates are a huge deal for you, security updates in past 3 years, you may want to look elsewhere. This information was not just assumed. It's actually listed under frequently asked questions on their website. So keep that in mind before you purchase this product. Okay, so I have an AT&T SIM in the phone. I do get VoLTE, good. I get 5G, good. I did a speed test, great. But I did get, hey, it's AT&T. A device you tried to activate does not work on our network. We're here to help, blah, blah. So I've get that issue before. The phone works fine. Never had an issue with that before, but I did get a notification that, hey, it's not made for our network, but I've got full 5G where I'm at, VoLTE. I tried phone calls, I tried messaging, RCS, everything works fine. So again, I know for a fact on T-Mobile this will have no issues, or Google Fi, which is what I use, which is just T-Mobile towers. But this has been Jason with Tuna Tech. Catch you next time.